Let's take a look at the command line compiler, and you're going to be able to do this within C# quite easily. We're going to be using this extensively throughout the training. I'm just going to show you how to set it up and how to get started, and we'll look at some more advanced features of it within the training as we move forward. Now, first thing you want to do is actually get a command line prompt from the Start menu, Run, type CMD. This is going to open up a command line prompt. You also would like to set up your command line here. You can drag it from your program, all programs, and you can find it there and just drag it down to your toolbar down here at the bottom, the taskbar if you wanted to. Now, first thing you want to do is set up the path so that when you type in CSC, which is the command line compiler for C#, you want it to be able to run. If you didn't have it in your path and you ran something like just a name, for example, anything, you're going to get that error there that it can't recognize this file, it can't find it. So you need to set up the path. Now, Visual Studio can help you do that, but oftentimes you might have to do it manually. I'll show you how to do it manually. We'll do it from the control panel. This is the directory where your framework is going to be installed. Most likely you have the latest framework, 1.1 or higher, and you just want to download that from the Microsoft.com. If you need to, you can get the redistributable file if you want to. I recommend going after the SDK. This is going to have all sample code and all bunch of different tools and things you can work with. And if you download the SDK and install it, then you have no problem setting things up. So we can actually copy this because we're going to add this to our path. Find your control panel, and I'm looking at the default way of looking at the control panel. You're going to have to switch that if you're on XP from looking at the category view. And then we're just going to select System. And then in the Advanced tab, we're going to select Environment Variables. Now you'll notice that you have a bunch of system variables. If you scroll down and find Path, just like that, and then you edit it, this whole thing here, this can have quite a lot of information here, or you might have a little bit of information. It depends on how many programs have added to this path. This is going to allow programs to have their files run without having to locate them in their proper directories. This is going to allow the Windows systems to automatically find that path for you. So if you have a lot like I do, you might have to delete a couple of things that aren't necessary, but otherwise, if you didn't have a long one, you wouldn't have to delete anything, leave it as is. Just don't delete anything that's really, really important, of course. But a couple things add to the path, and they don't really need to be there. So you just paste that information in there, and make sure you separate it by semicolon from the previous one. That means putting a semicolon in front or behind, depending on where it's going to be. And I added it directly to the front here. You can add it to the end if you'd like, as long as you semicolon separate it, as you can see here. And then you'll be okay. And then you hit OK, and that's it. That's all you have to do to set it up. I'm going to cancel because I already did that. And then from the command line, you can type in echo actually don't need the $ there, %path% in quotes, and that's going to show you your path, and then you can take a look and see and make sure it's in there, as you can see here. And if you hit mark, edit mark, you'll be able to find that right there. That's just going to let you print out the actual path, and you can just hit escape there to get out of that. So we have our directory here. This is the next example, the Hello World directory. I'm just going to show you how it works. You want to see the Hello World example just to see how to create this file, this Hello World opening file, and then you can run it from there. But the CSC is the name of the file, and then / question mark to get the help information. And you can see there's quite a lot of information here that you can present. The real thing that you're going to worry about is actually working with target. If you want to target a console application, you're going to put this at the end, /target:/exe. If you're targeting a Windows executable, you would put the /target:/winexe. We'll show you this. And you can also build a library, and that would be your other target, which would be a library like a DLL or something like that. And then a module. We'll talk about all of this in the near future. Assembly would just be what you would do for a module. So those are the targets that you can specify. And you can also present document, XML documentation and things like that. But the real thing is that you want to have references. If you need references to other assemblies and things like that, you can use the reference or the add module to add assemblies and references to DLLs and things like that. We'll see all of that. This is just to get you started in how to work with it. There's also debugging modes and things like that. And these are just extras that you add to the end of the file like you would any other DOS prompt. And there are many, many advanced ones as well. So just quickly, just to compile this in a very quick, easy sense, that we had target :exe, which is just a console application, and then we type in our class name. And what I'll do is I'll just do another directory just to get that name, class1.exe. Class1.cs is the name of the file that we want to compile. And then just like that, we can compile it. If you had additional things you needed to worry about, then you would add those to those parameters, like I mentioned, because you can see this is just a / and the information that we had there. So quick and easy, that's how you would set up the command line compiler. We're going to go in great details on the command line compiler and use it many different ways, advanced ways, but it's important to set it up so that you can use it, and it's also important to download that SDK. So you want to do that. Maybe you want to download that while we're doing some beginner videos, and then we'll be ready to go.